very much, Adam. I'll just share my screen. Just 1 second. Can you see that screen now?
Yes.
Yes, perfect. Okay. Thanks very much, everyone. Thanks very much for the introduction. As I said, my name is Mitchell Harley. I'm speaking currently from Sydney, Australia, just after midnight here. So I'll be presenting on the CoastSnap project, which I founded in 2017, and it's a global citizen science project to monitor our changing coastlines. So CoastSnap emerged in Australia to address some very, I guess, Australian issues related to the coastal management there. So Australia is a very coastal focused nation. We have 85% of Australia's population living close to the coast. It's a very big coastline. We have over 11,200 beaches, and it's a very diverse coastline. So we have large waves in the southern half of Australia exposed to the Southern Ocean, and then in the northern half of Australia, some quite large tidal range as well. And so we also have the challenges of coastal hazards that are found all around the world. So extreme storms, but also in the longer term, climate change and sea level rise. So CoastSnap emerged with the idea to try and collect increasingly amount of coastal change data in a way that incorporated the community in that process. And it's a very simple idea, as you can see in this photo on the left here. It just involves a stainless steel camera cradle or tripod, where we invite the community with some signage to put their smartphone in and take a photo. And because that photo is always taken at the same location and position, we carefully control for that. With these photos over time, we can start to record changes to the coastline. And so it's very useful way for local and municipal governments to engage with communities and collect high quality coastal monitoring data to understand how our coastlines are changing. So as I said, it began in 2017 as a very Australian project, but since then, because it's a very simple idea, it has gone, I guess, a little bit viral and has significantly spanned in just 4 years, such that we now have monitoring stations in 16 countries worldwide, partnering with different organizations, usually university organizations in all different countries. So we're really gone from the local scale, starting off in Sydney, Australia, and now to such as it's actually probably the largest coordinated coastal monitoring network that currently exists worldwide. And so 135 stations in 16 countries. So as I said, it's a very simple idea. So we just install these camera cradles overlooking the coast. We tend to look for elevated locations looking along the beach to get a good vantage point of the coastline. And we have a free CoastSnap app, which people can use to take photos into the cradle with the instructions there. But we also use social media. As you can see, we have Instagram and Twitter, and each station has a unique hashtag identifier, which allows people to hashtag their photo and associate it with that particular station. And then all of these photos in real time are collated onto a user interface at coastsnap.com, and as you can see here. This is just an example of what our signage looks like. So it just involves some information about how to contribute to the program, but also provides some information on just some education about coastal change and some of the issues involved. We also have a QR code, which enables people to scan the QR code and see all the photos at that particular site in real time. And so this is our website. I encourage you to go to www.coastsnap.com, and you can click on the map and see all of the different photos at all of the different stations worldwide. We also allow participants to not only use our particular fixed permanent stations, but they also can upload their own photos and create their own do-it-yourself stations. So using something like a handrail or a fence post, they can actually record changes at their own local beach without even using the official cradle. So this is an example of the CoastSnap app. You can see, so you go into the app, as I said, it's free to download, and people can select a photo at the spot that they are at, select the photo, and then they put it into the camera cradle, as you can see here, and take a photo. Once it's fixed into the camera cradle, this is a beautiful site on Sydney's northern beaches, and upload the photo to the app and record, importantly, the time of the photo. But also involved in the app, it has some questions about some interpretation of coastline change. So whether the participant thinks it's growing or eroding, and why they think that may be happening, whether it's due to climate change, human natural causes, and so forth. And you can also make some observations, some comments, and save that. And that immediately goes to a centralized database, and people can see these in real time. Of course, there's some participation things to keep people engaged. So there's awards which people get for continuous engagement. And you can see everybody else's photos at the site in, as I said, in real time. We also have a leaderboard, which enables people to, I guess, compete, or a bit of gamification of the citizen science, which enables, I guess, makes it a bit more fun and keeps people engaged in the long term. And you can see some statistics there. So that's what the CoastSnap app looks like. But what we do with these photos are several different things. So the first thing is we use the photos at the base level to create time-lapse videos of coastline change. So this is at one of our particular sites. And you can see, just with all the photos taken by the different community participants, you can start to see changes to the coastline over time. One of the challenges is everybody's using different smartphone models. So we actually have some stabilization algorithms in there to make sure that the videos look stable. But the more powerful thing about CoastSnap is also not just the photos themselves, but also the ability to actually extract quantitative data from the photos. And we do this, my background is in image processing and photogrammetry. And we do this through this photogrammetry techniques, which basically at each station, we actually go out and we record things called ground control points, where in the image, these are fixed points where we actually know the precise locations of, and we do that using a surveying with our GPS technology. And through this information, we can actually convert everybody's photos into this, from this oblique view, looking along the coast, to a top-down view, as though a bird's eye view, as though it's looking from a map. And so these two images here, it's the exact same image, but it's been manipulated to a top-down view. And now that it's in that new view, we can actually use that to extract information. And so we have an algorithm which actually then detects the shoreline from that. And with that, we can actually look at changes in the shoreline position over time, which is very powerful for a range of coastal management applications. Of course, with the precise time of the image, we also take into account the tide levels, so that we're ensuring that there's not variability due to the high or low tides. So this is an example here. This is at one of our sites where we get a very high level of engagement, more than a photo a day. And this shows the time series of shoreline change that we can get from all of these photos just taken from the community. This is over the course of an entire year. And this is a very dynamic site. You can see that it's a coastal inlet which closes and opens, which is a very challenging coastal management problem. And with these, simply with these stainless steel cradles and with the algorithms we have developed, we can get this very accurate information about shoreline change. And we've done some quite substantial validation of this technique when we find that it's accurate to about 2 to 4 meters horizontally. So we have for dynamic sites where the coastline can vary in excess of 100 meters, this accuracy is more than sufficient considering the low cost nature of the technique. So just to wrap up about CoastSnap, as I said, it's been growing and growing, and we are always welcome to participate, to invite new people to the network. It's a bit of a umbrella network where we have work with a whole bunch of organizations around the world. So there's continued expansion across Australia and globally. So we're doing a lot of expansion in North and South America, in Africa in some countries, and also in the Pacific Island nations. Where one of the things I'm really excited by is really working with community, so to have community-driven decision support systems and systems to forecast coastal change, both related to upcoming storm events, but also over seasons and things, as you can see on this plot on the right. We're also working with schools and community groups to develop STEM education packages, which are targeted particularly at young adults. We're also doing things related to augmented reality applications as well. So projecting through the smartphone, historical information about shoreline change and things like that. So a lot of exciting things happening with this growing network, and I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to present about it, and welcome any questions you have. Please put them in the chat. Thank you.
Thanks, Mitchell. That was fascinating. It's really interesting to see citizen science kind of approaches to a problem that 20 years ago I remember installing a bunch of cameras on a pole, doing something similar in the east of England. So it was really interesting to see. Does anybody have we've got time for a quick question or two, if anybody wants to drop one in the chat for Mitchell. So there's a question there from Andy, who is in Canada, about how to join the CoastSnap network.
Yeah, so to join the network, simply send me an email and we go through that. We have a CoastSnap users group, which we have a Slack channel where we all discuss things and share information and things like that. So that's the first step it would simply just to send an email. And as all of the software, that background processing stuff is on GitHub. It is MATLAB, however, so that's a restriction that's why we tend to work a lot with universities who tend to have MATLAB licenses and things. But we try to be as open as possible and make sure and ensure that as many people can join the network as possible.
Yeah, I guess some of that answers Tanya's question about can users run the change software. So if it's on GitHub, I'm assuming people can work away.
It's on GitHub, and you can just search. If on YouTube, I've done some training courses for people, so that's all freely available on YouTube. If you want to search that, simply CoastSnap and search that.
That's brilliant. Thank you, Mitchell, and thank you for staying up so late in the evening to join us as well. Really appreciate it. So it was a great
Very happy.
Yeah.
Thank you, Adam.
Thanks. Brilliant. We're going to move